Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everyone doing today? This is your host, Ash. This is the Ash Show, and welcome to another episode of the Daily News Roundup, where we go over the news after hours yesterday and pre market today. We figure out what happened, and more importantly, we see if there's any important plays that we can take, right? So let's jump into it. All right, so first things first here, as you can obviously see, very big news yesterday that Donald Trump officially announced his candidacy for the president of the United States for 2024. Now, expectations here that the market will pump a little bit, which the futures did somewhat after being down. Not as big as people expected, but more importantly, DWAC, his company, DWAC, people were expecting that it would run a lot. I personally have puts. I was expecting that he would not announce now and he would wait till the end of December. But apparently neither things happened. It was pretty much a wash. The company spiked and then fell down. So yeah, pretty much premiums were killed on this one and nothing came out of it. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds now that he's running for president. Definitely going to make the race interesting now for 2024. So next piece of news here, of course, we spoke about this already in the live stream yesterday, but you know, two missiles fell across the border in Poland, right? And a lot of people were saying they were Russian missiles. Of course, it came out later that yes, they were Russian missiles, and as expected here, you will see this unfold across these tweets. But we see here that of course, you know, Ukraine president immediately calls out for significant escalation because this is NATO. The missiles actually hit NATO territory because Poland is a NATO nation. Now, of course, as we said in the live stream yesterday, yeah, that's not gonna happen. No country right now wants World War III. Zelensky has everything to gain from continued escalations because as soon as the aid dries up from all countries, from Europe, from America, the war will probably be over. Ukraine will not be able to hold off Russia on its own, and for this reason, of course, stuff like this greatly benefits Ukraine and their efforts to continue the war and defend their country. So, of course, he pushes for something like that. As we expected, none of this would happen. If you watched the episode yesterday, we also discussed that the reason this might have happened is because Poland seized some assets, Gazprom assets from Russia, as was discussed yesterday. So people were expecting this might be retaliation, but of course, very quickly, the narrative changed, as we will see here soon. This is just something funny here by Northman Trader. He says, it's bad for the Bears even when World War III is trending on Twitter, because it was yesterday. And yeah, we saw the market come down a little bit, but then bounce back very, very hard. So yeah, that was, I thought this was a little bit funny. I wanted to include it here. Now, of course, again, some people were talking about because Poland, they were considering to trigger Article 4. Now, Article 4 for NATO nations means that NATO territory is being attacked, right? It means, hey, we're all NATO. We're all one body, one entity, and we all collectively are being attacked if one is being attacked. So we need to defend this. So basically, it was a call for war. And then, of course, today comes in, and we see, of course, news from Germany, both Germany and Poland. Now, why Germany is important here? Because Germany also seized Gazprom assets, right? So we see here Poland's president Duda come out and say, nothing proves that this was an intentional attack on Poland, and people are gonna move on, right? As expected, this is we did talk about this yesterday on the stream. This was pretty much expected. So German government spokesman also says, establishing a no-fly zone will pose a direct threat of confrontation between Russia and NATO. Again, no one really wants World War III here. The whole world is hurting at the moment, right? We have inflation fears, we have supply chain issues. Everything is very bad right now for everyone in the world. Everyone is hurting, everyone is suffering. So no one really wants World War III right now, right? All right, so next piece of news here, we have that White House asked Congress for an additional almost 38 billion in Ukraine aid. Now this is going to be very interesting to see if this actually goes true or not. A lot of people, of course, are talking about FTX, because FTX used to be the platform that the US used to send money via FTX, and then of course FTX would convert that into fiat and send it to the Ukraine government. And of course, some people are talking about conspiracy here, conspiracy theories, that this won't pass through this time because there's no FTX, because it was a money laundering thing. Hey, who knows? Anything is possible these days. I don't think so though, and it'll be very interesting to see if actually Congress approves this additional bill, given that of course with the midterm elections, some seats were lost, some seats were gained, not crazy amounts, but it will be interesting to see actually what happens now. Will this be accepted? Will this be rejected? Given of course everything that's going with the economy, the US economy seems to be improving, right, with the last CPI report. So of course additional aid to the Ukraine would hinder this progress, right? So it'll be important to see, if America will choose, if Congress will choose America or will choose Ukraine for this one, right? All right. So for our next piece of news here, I thought also this was an important thing here. US President Joe Biden is considering forcing the nation's fuel suppliers to keep a minimum level of inventory in the tanks this winter as a means of preventing heating oil shortages and keeping prices affordable. It might actually do the opposite. I feel like the word "it might actually do the opposite" should have been kind of a given at this point. Like, this is basic demand and supply issues. Basically, Joe Biden is saying, please keep, some reserves in the tanks. We already know that, pretty much the U.S., Europe, everyone has been having trouble filling their reserves because of the oil shortages. Now he's asking for these, reserves to be rationed, and then once that rationing is done, we'll just keep some reserves and not just sell them. Demand and supply will dictate that oil prices will shoot high and of course cause inflation again. So this is not a good idea. Anyway, next piece of news here, we have George Abbott, governor of Texas, invoking clauses, basically an all-out war at the borders. He is saying that he's going to use constitutional authority to pretty much do all these things that you can see here that will probably get us demonetized. So I'm just gonna leave this on the screen here. Feel free to read it. I'm gonna leave a link to that tweet down below. But yeah, it's pretty much an all-out war at the border for Texas here, so that's gonna definitely be interesting. Next piece of news here, we have of course we know the G20 summit has been ongoing and all presidents around the world are meeting, and we see here this piece of conversation captured between Canada's Prime Minister Trudeau and Xi Jinping, of course the Chinese president, and basically Xi Jinping saying he was not happy because some things were discussed in privately yesterday, and then they be leaked to the papers. He said it's not appropriate, it's not how things should have been conducted. And the problem here and how this might affect the market is that this might cause China to be wary of discussing supply chain issues with everyone else, because everyone here is going to China and they're saying, hey guys, you need to ease down COVID zero policy, keep it down, we need things to start running again, let's get those supply chains up and running, let's get them moving again. So this of course is the main goal here from pretty much everyone in this meeting, and having China feel this way about things is not really the best negotiation tactics, right? All right. So for our next piece of news here, we have an interesting piece. Of course, we know that Ken Grevin, we covered a piece of this speech that he had or summit that he had yesterday with Bloomberg, right? But another important piece here that we missed is Ken Grevin said earlier today that if China were to invade Taiwan, right, basically the US would lose, all the semiconductor resources. And of course, everyone knows this goes without saying, but then he goes on and says that the US will likely look at a 5 to 10% hit to GDP because of that. Not only that, he says we get an immediate Great Depression. Not even recession, immediate Great Depression. He said that the US is at the risk of fragmented tech stack as China looks to invest in their own semiconductor Manhattan project. And since they have 4x the amount of STEM grads as the US, it would threaten the US tech dominance if China is able to produce, semiconductors. So basically, he's saying that, as this unfolds, if China does go ahead and start, again making their own Manhattan like huge semiconductor project, right? The problem, they already have people who are capable of doing it, and of course we know China that they're very good at taking other people's tech, so I don't think they'll have problems there as well. So this of course will further China a lot, which by the way goes to increase what we've been hearing from Ray Dalio, we've been hearing from Morgan Stanley lately. We covered this yesterday, that China is poised for a big run up soon. And on the other hand, of course, we saw Buffett, we covered this yesterday, where Buffett bought $5 billion worth in TSM, right? So we see all these things happening in confluence, so question marks all over the place, right? Does this mean that China is indeed looking, to pull a move like this? I mean, they want to, but could they? Will they? That's a very, very important question. Something to keep an eye on, right? And finally, here in politics news today, we have FBI Director Chris Wray basically saying, that TikTok is dangerous and they're going to keep a very, keen eye on it. They say that it poses a direct threat to national security. This is not new news, but of course, seeing it resurface again, and the FBI Director, pretty much come out and say this directly, could be a little bit cause of concern for TikTok. So of course, could present an opportunity to short TikTok, or basically ByteDance in this case, if you have access to the Chinese market. But of course, you can also go long for all TikTok competitors as well. If you want to know what they are, if you want to know what a possible play is, if something like this comes to fruition, I stream everyday live right at the market open. So please subscribe if you haven't, so you can catch the live stream. I'm doing a 2K to 100K challenge where I live stream every day. I trade every day in front of you, super transparent, everything right in front of your own eyes, answer all questions. So please don't forget to subscribe, like this video. It really does help out. That being said, let's keep on, right? So next pieces of news here, we have some market news. So of course, yesterday, Tim Cook said that Apple will source chips from Arizona plant opening in 2024. Now, at a first glance, you can also say that, hey, this is also more confluence with, of course, the fears of China taking over Taiwan and, of course, cutting off the US. So this kind of feeds to that. And if anyone would know, Apple would definitely be one of the first people to know. They have very close ties with China. They're a huge player. Of course, they'll be getting privileged information that most people don't. So why are they moving their chips to Arizona? Of course, it could be as a hedge because, they're worried about supply chain issues. But not only now, in the future, they don't want to repeat what happened with COVID. So they're just using it as a hedge. Of course, better pricing opportunities. Some people are saying that this will increase prices because it's manufactured in the US. I don't believe so. It depends on what type, what model, what type of chips are they using for, for the iPhone, for the iPad, for something even different. Who knows, right? And of course, this gives them, better vertical integration, so better cost reduction. So many benefits, right? So it's going to be important to see. It's going to be a very important piece of news, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens once Apple starts doing that, right? So next piece of news we have here, New York Fed says that household debt increased by 2.2% in Q3, right? Now in total, $16.5 trillion. That is a 15% increase, largest ever increase in over 20 years. This is just crazy. This goes to show how much the Fed, whatever they've been doing, has been working to crush demand. And basically, I don't remember if they came out and said it directly. I heard someone saying that they did. I'm not sure if they were joking around or not. But basically, the Fed mandate at the moment is to pretty much drain your savings account. If they're draining your savings account, then whatever they're doing is working. This is a very important metric for them, right? They want savings to be spent and gone, right? And if they do that, then yeah, everything is on track on crushing demand. So scary news, of course, for the average Joe, people like us. But the reality of it is that we need to go through the pain in order for this whole inflation thing to be over. So kind of, bittersweet news here, right? So Next piece of news here we have Will Mead saying, giving us a potential catalyst for AGRD, which already happened. So basically, AGRD is important here is because we've seen Michael Burry buying a lot of AGRD. Now, AGRD was supposed, basically, the catalyst here was they were going to do today, very early in the morning, around the AM actually, like 1 AM, something like that. They were launching, a rocket, and it did. They launched it successfully. Now, the stock has not really moved on that news. Maybe people are still asleep, or something like that. We're not really seeing movement on this. But this presents us with a possible entry for the stock, right? So today we'll be doing a lot of DD on this on the live stream. So make sure you're with us right at the market open. All right, so next piece of news here, or this information, if I might add, that GME billionaire, Druckenmiller, basically said, when the Forum 13 came out, that he has a bet against GameStop, and he called the meme stock radioactive. Now, and of course, people are saying here that they bought options against 500,000 shares of the video game retailer. This is wrong. Actually, he had puts probably as a hedge, and he already closed these puts, right? So this is wrong, or maybe they misread the Forum 13s. But yeah, the puts were closed. So I would not just ape into GME based on this piece of news here, because the puts are closed. There's nothing to squeeze, and of course you can't squeeze based on puts. You're gonna need actual shorts. But yeah, that's over. That's done. I believe he still has some shares left. So he, at the moment, is long. I think it was just a hedge. So yeah. Anyway, more disinformation here. We have Bloomberg, and not just Bloomberg. A lot of people were saying there were rumors that Elon Musk is looking to raise funds that will basically value the company SpaceX above $150 billion. But yeah, Elon Musk came out in the most Elon Musk fashion and just said pause. Wrong. So that's not happening. I would have loved that for him, though. That would have been maybe overvalued, but an excellent valuation nonetheless. But yeah, that's no truth there, right? Next here we have, of course, UK numbers. CPI numbers came out here with a huge increase. That is very bad, 11.1%. A big increase over the last month number, and even bigger increase over estimates. We do have the autumn budget tomorrow, and we will be trading that tomorrow as well. So again, keep an eye on the live stream as we do. My expectation is, of course, that the autumn budget will come in. Sunak will say the right things. He will try to restore confidence in the UK economy, in the central bank, in the Fed, or the equivalent of the Fed. Pretty much, he's gonna try to, as much as possible, undo the damage that Liz Truss did. And of course, we would all calm down all fears. As of course the autumn budget is very important, because people are worried with everything that's happening with Russia and how Europe will be affected. So yeah, it's gonna be very important to keep an eye on that. But of course, as those numbers came out, we saw not just the UK being affected, we also saw a big drop in the futures, turning from green to actually going red here. They had a big drop. So yeah, it's just something to keep an eye on today. Next piece of news here, we have Michael Burry saying, tweeting this pretty much, "You have no idea how short I am." Again, Michael Burry being Michael Burry, not much to dissect here. I don't understand how you have no idea how short I am when the 13 Fs came out, and he had 0 short positions. He was long stuff only. Maybe he's starting to build a short position now. That could be possible, because of course we're having a run to the 200 MA on the daily, and we've seen the 200 MA on the daily on the SPX and the futures being a very pivotal point, usually followed by a big drop. All the big drops, Jackson Hole, all the stuff happened right at the 200 MA daily. We're pushing that, so maybe he's looking to start a short position there, right? And which we will see, of course, next quarter as his positions become public. So yeah, very interesting tweet though. Next here we have Target actually came out with earnings today, and huge miss. They're down 16% at the time of this recording, right? So they missed pretty much everything. EPS, they cut guidance, revenues was bad, and on the earnings call they seem to be just blaming organized crime. They're saying they had $400 million loss in profits just because of that, which is a mind-boggling number if true. I don't know if this is true or not. I don't know if they're just blaming it on them, but just crazy, right? Next piece of news here, we have the ECB saying, which is of course the European Central Bank. They're saying, of course, that risks are on the rise and banks need to build preventions. Not the best piece of news, not the best piece of thing you want to be hearing from the ECB right now. It does seem that they're worried about like possible war in Europe. Probably they said this because of what's been happening yesterday. Things seem to be to have calmed down in that region, though, as we already discussed. So hopefully that covers that, right? Next and final piece of news in market news here is that Silvergate has been subpoenaed. And of course, we saw SI yesterday down almost 20%. We already discussed this SI as being a possible short here. And now more than ever, SI is looking as a more attractive short. I will probably be looking for a short position very soon here. We will be digging into SI today in the live stream. So make sure you jump in if you want. If you're interested in a possible play here. This covers our market news. Next, we'll be doing crypto, but this is your reminder to, if you made it so far, please subscribe. I put these daily market news roundups every day. I live stream every day, live trading right in front of everyone, doing a 2k to 100k challenge. We're doing very well so far, above 10k in our options account and above 2k in our futures account. I also put out a weekly watch list outlining all my plays for next week, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe, like the video if you haven't. All right, that being said, let's jump into the final part of the video, which is crypto news. So next year we have, of course, Japan biggest crypto exchange halted withdrawals today. Well, this was after market yesterday, so that will be yesterday. So yeah, this is very, very scary notion here. Japan's economy already not doing very well. Now, this could be, of course, not that big of news, because of course we could see here that the halted withdrawals are just due to not necessarily liquidity issues, but people of course are a little bit afraid here. Of course, there's one thing I do want to point out here that a lot of people are commenting and saying that this is false, misinformation, that it wasn't the biggest. It's a little bit new here, just something to keep in mind. But I thought that warrants mentioning as well. Second piece of news here is, of course, the FTX exploiter. Basically, we all know that almost $600 million were stolen from FTX, and most of those were Ethereum, right? So this person at this point is the largest Ethereum holder in the world, or one of the most known, biggest Ethereum holders in the world. This guy stole this crypto. He probably will be looking to dump this, God knows when, right? But he wants to get liquid, and of course, he's gonna be looking to exit, and we already see him starting to dump a little bit of the drained assets. So this could very much trigger, if he dumps all his coin, this could pretty much trigger a huge fall in Ethereum price, followed by, of course, a huge fall in crypto price. Dumping almost $300 million worth of Ethereum is just a mind-boggling number here, right? All right, so next piece of news here we have is the United States is going to try and force, Sam Bankman to come back for questioning. All I'm going to say is, I would love to see how. I don't know how. He's in the Bahamas for a reason, because he's kind of safe there. So it'll be interesting to see if the Bahamas cooperate with the U.S. or not. But yeah, interested to see how that unfolds, really. All right. Speaking of Sam, continuation of his crazy thread here, and he's been posting regularly to this. Now we see here, of course, he puts out some more information yesterday and today, and he said that basically his top priority will be the customers, and he wants to pay customers first before investors, and he's sorry. And then, of course, he puts out very, I want to say, wrong numbers, because he's saying that liquidity is minus 8 billion. No shit. But he says that semi-liquid and illiquid assets are more than that. They're almost like 9 billion. I don't know if that's true, honestly. But yeah, it's just something noteworthy here. And then he finally ends this by saying 6 hours ago, truth and beauty, whatever the hell that means. I don't think that this guy is really handling this all too well. I mean, like, a lot of people were screwed because of this, lost life savings, and I don't know. This seems more like a child's way of handling and get. I mean, you screw it up, fine. Like it's very hard to come back from this, but this is not the way. This seems like a very like you're having a very cavalier attitude towards this, right? So yeah, just my 2 cents here. And this very weird piece of news that came yesterday, which I thought was a little bit funny. Hunter Biden. I know he looks different here, but this is Hunter Biden, and he was promoting his art slash NFT yesterday. Yeah, I thought that warranted mentioning. Very weird. Next here we have is Nike announced yesterday, of course, that it joins the brands that are building on Polygon. So this is a big move for Polygon, big move for crypto altogether. Just thought that worth mentioning here. This is a list of very big brands that already are building on Polygon. So you might want to keep an eye on that, right? Could present a good trade here or opportunity. More news, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo launches his first NFT connection with Binance. Will it move BNB price? I doubt it. But again, Cristiano Ronaldo brings a very, very big audience with him. Huge on Instagram, huge on Facebook, huge all over the place. Plays really a worldwide football star. So Warren's keeping an eye on it. But of course, with crypto trust being at an all-time low, and we seeing people like FTX crash down due to their celebrity endorsements, I don't think this was the right move by Binance here, to be honest. Next here we have Kim.com. Bringing actually a very, very important point here up is that economics professor, professor. I think at right around this time I always keep mispronouncing stuff. As anyway, economics professor Rubini says that Binance is a walking ticking bomb. He says Binance is banned in the UK, is being under investigation by the Justice Department in the US for $8 billion in money laundering, and he is calling for it to be kicked out of the UAE where he lives. A lot of people have been speculating that Binance might be the next ticking bomb here. This is not the first time we hear this. A lot of people are very worried about Binance and their stability, and the FTX felt like this. Why not Binance as well? So more bad news coming here. Good to keep an eye on this. I would say if you have money in Binance, take it out. I did that. Not worth the risk in my opinion. If they're good, they're good. I'll put it back in. But if not, I don't want to risk it. And the final piece of news here we have is a very interesting chart. Binance handles 5 times the trading volume of any crypto exchange. How is its balance sheet? Again, hammering on the point that I was saying last time. People are worried about Binance, and for a good reason. Binance is doing more trading volume than pretty much the majority of its competitors combined, right? Like if you add all these numbers up, I believe they come out equal to pretty much every other major exchange on the market. So it's gonna be very, very interesting to see what happens, because if Binance, they get FTX, yeah, this could spell doom and gloom for the whole market. But with that being said, this brings us to the final piece of news we have today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this roundup. If you made it to the end of the video, please give me a like, subscribe to the channel. It takes a lot of effort to put these together, and I'll definitely be seeing you in the live stream at the market open. So hope you have a green day. Ash out.